Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And join me also in welcoming the creator of the Scott Pilgrim comic books and co-creator and co-showrunner of the Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which drops Friday, November 17th on Netflix. Please welcome Edgar Wright and Bryan Lee on the panel.
Since it reopened, so this is pretty wild.
Yeah, we got taken in from the back, so we're very confused.
We're going to keep this short because we want to give more time to talk afterwards. But I just want to say, ostensibly, I'm in Los Angeles this week to help Bryan promote the new Scott Pilgrim anime show coming out this Friday,
November 17th. Midnight LA time.
Stick around to the end of the Q&A and you might get a little tease of what's to come. But tonight, the American Cinematheque have kindly indulged me to play the original movie, again for two very selfish reasons. Number one, a few years ago, Universal re-released the film in a new Dolby Cinema version for the 10th anniversary, but because of Omicron, remember that? We couldn't do any Q&As for it, and which was understandable, but still a bummer. So consider this 13th anniversary screening as a 10th anniversary screening.
I saw it at the AMC Burbank 16. It was great.
We didn't get to see it together.
Not together.
So imagine it's 2020 again, the before times. The number two reason to do this tonight is because the Egyptian is back, baby. We just wanted to check out the Atmos sound in here. So we were trying to figure out the last time that we saw it together, and what did we reckon it was?
It probably was the London premiere, which was like August 15th, 2010. Yeah. Together. We've seen it
since, but not together. Anyway, we're going to be back after the screen to answer some questions from the amazing combo moderators, Daniel Kwan and Daniel Sharnow, aka the Daniels. Their name's not there anymore, but it was. And I just wanted to say as well that some of the crew of the original movie are in the house, and I wanted to shout out to them. Leo Thompson, who I've worked with since 2007. The first movie we did together was Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And also, my long-time sound editor and mixer, Julian Slater, is here. Yeah. Maybe you'll have some notes on how the Atmos is. But Julian was Oscar nominated for Baby Driver, but I'm going to say that it was a retroactive nod for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. And also, I'm going to call out our producer, also one of the producers of the anime as well, Adam Siegel is here.
Yeah.
In 2004, Adam Siegel, when the first book, Scott Pilgrim's Precious Little Life, was published, Adam Siegel and his co-producer, Jared Leboff, cornered me at a screening and pressed the book into my hands and said in a very LA way, very Hollywood way, "This is your next movie." But Hot Fuzz was the next movie, so he's wrong. It was the one after that, which is close. So thank you, Adam. If you heard me make the same joke at Videos on Friday, I apologize. And I also have a request. Did anyone see the movie opening weekend in LA? We thank you for your support, your custom. Well, I wanted to do something tonight that never happened in Los Angeles, but did happen in Toronto, Canada. Remember to pronounce Toronto, dropping the second T. Audience, when Bill Hader's voiceover in the opening shot mentions Toronto, Canada, the audiences in Toronto went crazy. So since Bryan's Canadian, to make him feel less homesick, I'd like you, when you hear the words Toronto, Canada, to go absolutely apeshit. Just imagine that you're watching it in the Scotiabank.
I still know that reference.
Some people know that reference, the longest escalator in the world. So can you do that for Bryan?
I'm going there in 2 days, actually.
Okay, well enjoy the movie with us and we'll be back with the Daniels to answer questions on how the hell we made this. Thank you for coming.
I'd like to introduce our amazing moderators, Daniel Shiner and Daniel Kwan, the Daniels.
Hello. We did not make that movie. We're just big fans like you. And speaking of being fans, we're very excited to invite people we love to the stage right now.
First up, we want to invite the creator and the author and the mind behind Scott Pilgrim. We got Bryan Lee O'Malley here.
And then apparently this guy helped write the movie, directed the movie, and his name's Edgar Wright. He's here. They put 2 more chairs out here, so I guess we'll bring up more people. Do you guys like Knives Chow? All right, let's bring out Ellen Wong.
And we're very excited to let you know that we have a surprise guest. We have Ramona Flowers herself, Mary Elizabeth Winstead. Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for having us. I am such a massive fan of everyone on stage. I read all the comics before the movie came out. Edgar, obviously, I've been watching your stuff since college. Like, the fact that you guys invited us here is a dream. I wanted to start off by just saying, this movie, it's been 13 years. And this is a question for each of you, what is the most surprising or unexpected thing that this movie has done for your life, whether creatively or personally or just in your career in general? Is there something that you were not expecting 13 years ago when this movie first came out?
People still go see it when it plays, and people still are excited about it. Yeah, I don't know. I never expected anything that I did to have this kind of longevity, but here we are. I don't. It's humbling. It's wild.
Yeah, I guess a similar thing, you know, when the movie came out, it didn't do that well in its kind of opening release, and the thing that was really, like, meant a lot to me was you know, if something doesn't do well, usually the first thing that happens is the cast, like, run for the hills and never mention its name ever again, and, like, that didn't happen, and, like, sort of, it's almost like we carried on doing the press tour long after the press tour was over, and that turned into, whenever it was playing, like, in Los Angeles at the New Beverly or the New Art, we would just, like, show up en masse to an unsuspecting audience, an audience that didn't even know there was going to be any personal appearance. So that meant a lot to me because it was, I knew that these guys were proud of it and I was proud of it, and it was just a case of still getting the word out. Like, so that means a lot to me, and that's continued like, to this day. Like, we've been on a group email since 2010.
A long thread.
AOL.
We used to show up in the New Bev with like 13 of us. And we would just have once a month, like, just get drinks together. It was so much fun.
Doug Benson there was moderating.
Oh, Doug's here.
I mean, same. Echoing what you guys have said too. The fans. It's like there's this love for the content, the material. It's like we just. It transcends time, you know. I think anybody, like I was telling you guys in the back that my friend, she's a librarian at an elementary school, and she was telling me that kids are, you know, checking out the graphic novels there. It's like, you can still read it today, and it still affects you, and it still resonates, and I think there's something that, you know, Bryan created that was just so special that, you know, we can all kind of, there's that connection, that feeling of nostalgia, that feeling of that like craziness that you had inside of you growing up. Like that's the thing that I think we all kind of have a connection with in that. So yeah, but you know, and we're all here together. I mean, that's the cool thing. Everything that Edgar said too about us being able to like hang out together and be together. It's like not every job has that.
Yeah, I would echo all of that. I think, you know, we all came together and loved the material so much and loved one another so much and the experience of making it. And I'm sure we'll get more into the details of it, but, you know, the nature of the preparatory time and the way we all got to train together and get to know each other. And, you know, by the end of it, by the time it sort of trickled out and the movie was out and there was nothing really left to do, it still had been like 2 years of time that we had all spent together, really kind of revolving around being together in this movie. And so for me, it was like almost like a college experience or a drama school experience or something that just stays with you so much. And I think Edgar brought together such like-minded people, and that's lasted, you know. So Ellen and I are still best friends, and so many of the cast members and people involved are still really close. And so yeah, I think there was just something special about the way it came together that's made it stand the test of time in different ways, including personally as well, which is really unusual, I think.
I just want to say that what's funny is because Ellen and Mary were like run of shows, and Ellen and Mary and Michael, pretty much the only actors who were there for the entire thing. But like, so
Which was how long?
I mean, we shot for, I don't know.
6 months.
Yeah, or maybe not sure. We shot for 100 days. It's easily the longest like shoot I've ever done. But as an example, Chris Evans. So he, you know, he comes to rehearse, he preps his bit, he goes away, then he comes back to shoot his bit, and then he's wrapped out. And then we're still filming, and then Chris Evans, maybe like weeks later, texts and says, "I miss you guys, I might just come back to hang out." And he did. He had nothing to do, he got his own flight, and he just came back to hang out, which was very sweet.
Were you tempted to make him a background actor on that day? That's wild. Did you know, like, I'm gonna build like a drama school for all the coolest actors of this generation, and I'm gonna train them in martial arts, and then they're all gonna make Marvel movies? Is that part of the plan? Or I'd love to hear more about the prep work, and like, did you design it for them to all work so closely together and be around each other?
In terms of the preparation or the casting or both, or?
All of the above, yeah. It's so
the
impressive.
casting is done, I mean, listen, I mean, one thing, I mean, you know, the one department that don't get enough credit in film, there's no Academy Award for them, is casting directors. And like, the amazing, there's Alison Jones in LA, Jen Houston in New York, and Robin Cook in Toronto. Between the three of them put together this cast. You know, I auditioned Ellen in Toronto, and but what's crazy, I mean, I won't mention any names because that's not a good thing to do. What's funny is the cast is so stacked that even the people that didn't get the part went on to be megastars. So there's that funny thing where there's people that, I won't mention names, but it's just funny to me that I kind of think about the B choices are also super famous.
Just do sound
Humble
like
brag
whatever.
like this.
Yeah.
But then what a big part of it was we had everybody in Toronto for prep, and that was maybe like 6 weeks before or like a month. You guys were in there for quite a while before. Michael, Mary, and Ellen were there first, and then the various other cast members would come, and it was an amazing experience. I think about that all the time because it was sort of like college for you guys, because it was like we all trained together in the morning, and then you guys would do fight training, and then the people who were in music sequences would do like literally like band camp, and so it was like this kind of little college thing going on whilst we're prepping the movie, and obviously that was a real bonding thing because obviously there's so many fights in it, and you guys had a lot to do. You know, Brad Allen, the stunt coordinator, who was very sad and he's no longer with us, and we all loved him and really just he was an amazing person. You know, we wanted to, obviously there were stunt doubles in the movie, but we wanted the actors to do as much as they possibly could. And you can't really do that without, I mean, you guys know, you can't really do that without, I mean, Michelle Yeoh was already a badass. That's like just having a cup of coffee for her. but we, you know, we needed to train. So that was, I mean, how many weeks was it before we started filming where you guys were in Canada?
I think you're right about saying about 6 weeks. I mean, it was definitely at least a month. So I remember just being so excited to get up there. I mean, it was just like, as soon as I was cast, just like, when do we get to do it? When do we get to do it? So I think we would have trained for as long as you'd asked us to, because we were just so excited to
Like, we're filming
do
now?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember Mary, when we worked with you a while ago, I was asking everything about what was it like to work with Edgar? What was the shoot like? And you were like, everyone else was training and fighting, but I had to do roller skate training because I didn't know how, or rollerblade training because I didn't know how to rollerblade. And the whole time I was kind of skate by and be like longingly wishing I was with the rest of the gang. It sounded so cute.
I don't remember saying that, but that's fair. Yeah, that was accurate. Because I just didn't. I felt like I was pretty capable with the martial arts stuff, so I loved doing it because you know you love doing something that you have an aptitude for. And I did not have an aptitude for rollerblading, so I just felt embarrassed. Like I was just over there like the kid with a little helmet, just being like shaky on my rollerblades.
Line of
Like,
cones on the
yeah,
floor.
yeah, trying to learn how to go around the cones and trying to look cool like Ramona. So yeah, so that was kind of that was a tough part.
Did you get a bug? Do you roller skate now, or never? You haven't done it
No,
since?
I think never again.
We brought roller
Good
skates
acting.
for you if you want to do it. That's not true.
When we all trained, so I tried to show solidarity to the cast, and I was like, you know, and maybe this is more for Michael's benefit, I don't know, but I was trying to show solidarity, saying, if you guys are going to train at 8 in the morning, I'm going to come and train with you too. And that turned into you joining as well.
I did, yeah.
And then, and then the amazing thing was that obviously these guys are in fight scenes, and then one of my like very vivid memories of making it is just imagine being in a gym class where Michael Cera is doing push-ups next to Captain America and Superman. I mean, that image alone. And then what happened is that the actors who weren't in the fight scenes kind of got jealous that there was this fun thing happening before work. So suddenly like Kieran and Brie Larson and Alison were all down there as well. So we had this like mass like gym class at the start of every day.
Yeah, I remember standing in a circle with everyone doing kind of ball slams. Chris Evans throwing a ball at my face. I remember that very strongly, yeah.
I also remember Jason Schwartzman stalling for time all the time.
Yes.
We had this trainer, Max, and Max would come out with these things.
Max
like,
is one of the stunt doubles at Lucas Lee.
Yeah, he's one of the Lucas Lee stunt doubles, and Max would say something like a big proclamation, and Jason would be trying to catch his breath, and you know, he'd say, "It's the most pain I've ever experienced in my life." You know, and then Jason said, "What was the second most painful?" He would just be trying to catch his breath.
Stalling.
I just kept asking questions.
I also, one other Jason, there's lots of Jason stories. The other Jason story was I had this gym class playlist, and one of the tracks on the gym class playlist was the, not the Rocky theme, not the Flying High, but the other one, the ba 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 ba, and at the start of it is Adrian, like Talia Shire, going, win, and Jason turns to me and goes, "That's my mum." Those are the things I really remember. It's just Schwartzman. You didn't know Talia Shire was Jason Schwartzman's mum.
I want to step back a little bit and talk a little bit about the collaboration between Bryan and Edgar. What you guys did was fairly unique, I think, just the level of involvement the creator had with the adaptation. I don't think at that time it was that common. And you can tell, when you watch it, it's still 100% Scott Pilgrim, the comic, but also you feel Edgar through every shot, every transition. Like Edgar, I don't think is there a single transition in like between scenes where it's just a normal cut in that movie? I don't think there is, right? Exactly. It's so like I think it's a perfect marriage. I want to hear more about your just how did you guys figure out the shot design and the storyboarding of it all? Like as a filmmaker, I look at this movie and I get so jealous. It's like, how did you pull this off?
Yeah, I mean, it was all you. I did draw a lot of things though, and you used those as a basis for this film. I mean, that's what struck me watching it this time. It's like, oh, there's an Edgar Wright movie of my work. That's crazy. Beautiful.
Well, I love the books, and I think my main thing was I wanted to make it as all like true to the books as possible. Like I really like tried to cast the people that looked exactly like the drawings. You know, I mean, they're obviously the best people for the role, but it's still like, why not just be like with such fidelity to the books? That was sort of my.
I mean, I feel like that's how you pitched Mary to me. You were like, her eyes are so big.
I remember. It's funny because I rewatched Death Proof the other day, and I remember that me and Michael McCall, who co-wrote the screenplay with me, we, after the first screening of Death Proof at the Man's Chinese, we were driving in the car, and we were like, Mary Elizabeth Winstead should be Ramona, and he goes, totally. Like, that was like, I remember that. We were literally driving down Hollywood Boulevard outside, we were coming from like Man's Chinese, but I remember that vividly. But I mean, to answer your question, I mean, I think the thing that we, there's two things. There's the script where, when Adam Ziegler, who's right there, gave me the first book, only the first book existed, and I was sort of attached to the movie, but I sort of wanted to wait for Bryan to do more. So after I'd done Hot Fuzz, there were now 3 books. So then I remember that me and Michael came to Toronto, and
Keeps trying to say not say Toronto.
trying to say in the...
What's the right way to say it?
Toronto is the way.
Toronto.
Don't say
Like
Toronto.
Atlanta.
So we came to Canada, I remember, to talk to you. Toronto, Canada. And to basically pick your brains about what the next 3 books was. Do you remember? I remember we were all sitting in a hotel.
I remember sitting on like a patio at a hotel, and yeah, and you had a printout of volume 3. I think that's why in the books Envy's hair ended up red, but in the movies she's blonde, and it's because you only had the black and white. I mean, it was a black and white comic. So, but yeah, I don't really. I don't know what I did. I just answered all your questions, and you were just so devoted to the books. Every time you would show me stuff, it would be from the books, and you would be recreating it on the screen. I know when I came to the set, the storyboards were literally, a lot of them were just the book panels, which was very impressive to me. And it was my first and only movie, so I didn't know that this was unusual. But you were so dedicated. You were such a fan.
I mean, you know, we would use. I mean, that was what was great is the artwork. I mean, it really sort of spoke to me, just the books, because I related to a lot of it, and also it's just something about doing something that's just about normal people that has this magical realism aspect, and it's not. Oh, interesting. So we just set cereal. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Speak up, Edgar.
But that's one of the things that attracted me to the books was I'd done this show Space with Simon Pegg and Jessica Wong before Shaun the Dead. And there was something about the books that reminded me of that, and I thought like, oh, wouldn't it be great to do something like that with like sort of like a young cast and sort of something that's kind of feels pop arty. And it would be the thing, we did boards for everything, you know, and the boards were done with a whole amazing bunch of storyboard artists, including my brother. But you know, we'd have the hero frames, and the hero frames would be his panels. So you could see it in some of the fights, there'd be like clearly like a frame straight from the book. And you know what's funny, because there's the anime show coming out, is that when we were making the movie, we were trying to figure out how to do live action anime, and like with references like a lot of ones that you'd mentioned, like Cowboy Bebop and Fooly Cooly and Naruto. And as a kid, I was obsessed with, for the older people in the room, Gatchaman, Battle of the Planets, G-Force. And you know, where like they're running, but the ground is just moving, and they're just running on the spot. So there's some shots like that in that, but it was really just a sort of dream in a way. I mean, also so many comic book movies. Not mentioning any names, but I feel like they're not like really pay tribute to the artists. You know, some do. Obviously, there's things like Sin City and 300, but then I think sort of like. It was a really nice thing to have Bryan involved, because so many comic book movies, they barely credit the illustrators at all, you know?
You were saying backstage you put Bryan to work when he was on set?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was saying it's better to be at work on a movie set than to not. to just be there as the author, because then you have nothing to do, and actually movie sets are quite boring when you have nothing to do. So yeah, Edgar threw me in the art department with his brother Oscar, and we were working on lots of stuff. I drew all those big, what do you call it? Like the flip chart thing that shows the other bands and things. I was drawing all those. There's only one copy of them. I drew it with a big fat Sharpie. We had no extras in case they got ruined, so.
Cards as well?
Yeah, I did the whole thing. All the writing in there is all me, yeah.
The laminated list.
Can we hire you for our next movie? Just to do posters?
I'll come down.
Great handwriting.
Okay. For Ellen and Mary, we were talking a little bit backstage about this, but I'd be curious for you guys to pick, and this will be really hard because this film is just filled with incredible shots, just like everything from the colors, the composition, to the performance, to everything about it is like so perfectly or carefully thought through. Not perfect, nothing's perfect, Edgar. But for you guys personally, are there any shots that you look at now where you feel particularly proud of for doing something in it that maybe an audience member would never know just by watching it? Is there a fun story behind a shot that you just really feel like, oh, that was a really hard day, or this was a very special memory for me? I'm just curious to hear you guys talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a little bit backstage, but there was this scene where Knives is flying down from the sky with her knives coming down like this. That was a day that my parents came to visit set, and Edgar had said, you should invite them, you should let them come check it out. And that was a big deal for my whole family, because for the longest time I wanted to be an actor, and my parents were very traditional, never ever wanted me to have that or to do it. They just didn't believe in it. But they were on set, and there was a moment where they realized, oh my God, this is bigger than what we thought it was going to be. They were more surprised that there were so many crew members. Like, they just thought it would just be us with a camera and like a director, And they showed up to set with a little platter of a dozen cakes, because they were like, oh, I brought some, some cakes for the crew. And I'm like, okay. And then I remember Leo, I gave it to her, and she's like, oh, I'll put it on the crafty table. But I'm like, there's hundreds of people here. And so I think, seeing them go, whoa, kind of reminded me to be in the moment, and to also really just be so present and grateful for being there, because really playing Knives Chow was the beginning of my career. So that scene was a big day for me.
I feel like you can see it in your performance that you're really proud of yourself.
As you
When
should
you come in there,
realize.
yeah. That's a great day for them to visit. You were up on wires?
Yeah.
I remember watching them watching you. Like, up on the wires, yeah. I remember them standing there looking at Gog. Like,
Tearing up?
I am tearing up. Sorry, I remember it vividly, and I just remember them just looking at you, not like sort of just completely agog. It was very. I know I'm tearing up. I apologize.
I wasn't supposed to be acting, and here I was doing it, thanks to Edgar and the whole Scott Pilgrim team who believed in me. So.
I feel like there's no answer after that. It's kind of all a blur to me, to be honest.
Were you proud of yourself when you finally roller skated?
Yeah, I did. I finally roller skated.
Yeah.
Was finally able to do that. I think everything was so exciting and so hard. I mean, really, all of it was so challenging in the best way, particularly all the fight scenes. It was kind of, never done anything like it since, because you don't really get that kind of time anymore to put into things. So, we spent weeks on these fight scenes, kind of getting everything right, and like that, you were just, seeing little bits and pieces backstage, but the end on the pyramid of that whole big fight scene. And I was just remembering the time when we had a bit of like Ellen, I can't remember what happened, but I got hit in the eye.
There was blood.
There was some sort of knife, or not a real knife, but some sort of wooden knife went into my eye. And everyone was so worried, and you were so worried, and you were crying because you were afraid that you hurt me, and I was crying because I didn't want you to be upset. And it was just like, the emotion of having these two actresses who loved each other so much pretend to be, have this animosity for each other. So I think there was so much of that, we were so in it together, and it was so rewarding to get to do that with each other, through all the ups and
The battle scars and
the
all.
battle scars and all. Yeah.
You reminded me of Michael Cera was very conscientious about safety as well. He would really, and that scene at the end when he's fighting the dudes in the Chaos Theatre, he had like a short sword. So it was just a short sword so that the VFX wizards could make it longer later and make it on fire. So he's doing the thing with the short sword, and even though it's a short sword, he's always saying to the stunt guys like, hey, is that okay? And stunt guys are really tough, so they're like, you can't hurt us, don't worry, just go for it. There's no way you can hurt us. Please, don't hold back. So Michael does his take, swish, 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 and then he goes off to get a coffee, and the stunt double, Chris Mark, comes in to do the take of the long sword. So we have the reference for the long sword. And on the first take of the long sword, bam! One of the stuntmen gets hit in the mouth of the sword and knocks his teeth out. Now, the thing is, at this point in the scene, the floor of the nightclub is covered in coins. And Michael Cera comes back to find the entire crew looking on the ground, and he's got the coffee, he goes, what's up? And they said, we're just looking for his teeth. And Michael turns to the guy, and because stuntmen are super tough, the guy is like standing there, holding his mouth, which is bleeding, and Michael goes, oh my God, he goes, I'm totally cool. I'm totally cool. This is all gonna go as well. We did find the teeth, but it took a while.
It's like a reverse tooth fairy. Normally you get the coin after you get the tooth.
Yes. The tooth fairy paid out.
I have a vague question, because you
guys were afraid of Churchill, he was amazing. We tried to, I know he was there the whole time, and a lot of it was just the process of what it would look like. So we did this test scene, I think which is on the Blu-ray maybe, where we sort of tried it out of this little live action anime. But it's just a sort of, a process, and also trying to make it feel organic, doing the graphics and the kind of the points and what translucency they were. All of that stuff was just a process to get it right. So all of that stuff took a lot of time, and the VFX guys, double negative, were great. My brother, who does concept art and storyboards, he would sort of stay on as a VFX whisperer as well. So, but lots of those guys were all geniuses, but it was just trying to nail it, what it should look like. But then there's some crazy things on set, and this would probably give you guys PTSD as soon as I mention it, is that when we had this idea that whenever there would be a connection, a light would go off. So every time somebody gets punched and there's a flash, there was literally a light bulb in the scene. So, yeah, I'm sure you remember this. Because, so basically, you have a light bulb in every scene, a flash bulb, and usually I would have the trigger. Sometimes Peng Zhang, who was the fight coordinator along with Greg, would have it. And you basically stand by the monitor and have to do it by eye. Every time they hit, it's like a psh, and there'd be sometimes 7 light bulbs. And Michael Cera said that after he wrapped filming, in his sleep, all he could hear was psh, 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 the sound of the flash bulbs going off. But obviously, so any raw shot of the movie, on the pyramid, there's light bulbs on stands all over the place that are then painted out. So that was a sort of a physical effect that was really there.
I also saw in the behind the scenes, you guys had air cannons for some of the punches too, which as a nerd, I was like, that's genius. Just little people following every punch with an air cannon shot. I don't know how often you did that. So much work.
Yeah, do you remember all? You must remember the light bulbs.
I remember the light bulbs for sure. I remember the light bulbs. But the air cannons?
Yeah, okay, it was the fight by the castle on the movie set.
Yeah.
Every single hit, you had 2 men with air cannons with these Ghostbusters tubes almost.
Oh, yeah.
It looked absurd. I was like, yeah, brilliant.
There's also that thing at the end when Gideon Graves is being beaten up and it kind of goes into freeze frames, but they're not freeze frames, it's just Jason standing there, and like maybe you'd have just like a shoe on a stick in his face, and there'd be a hairdryer blowing his hair to make it look real. So the old classic Jackie Chan, shoe on a stick.
Yeah.
We did that.
Yeah.
I got to punch Michelle with a shoe once
Yes.
for one shot.
Classic Jackie.
While we're talking about nerdy, like technical things, there's a shot again in the behind the film shoot where Scott Pilgrim is thrown up into the air, hits scaffolding, hits like 10 different things, lands, and then seamlessly, it's not a stunt double, it's Scott Pilgrim's face that you see. What was that like? Because every time I see it, I'm like, I can't find the seam. I don't know how you guys did it. It looks amazing.
It's not even, it's a seamless kind of stitch in the scene. It's like the stunt guy's name is Riley. Riley does the first part of it, and then Michael just rolled over in the same position. And the trick is like the VFX put dust falling. So when dust is falling like in continuity as it would, it tricks the eye that there's a cut. I mean, the cut is pretty seamless, but the falling dust is what does it. So it's credit to Double Negative, like, because I've even seen, I don't know, those people who do like VFX YouTube things, and they're rewinding that bit to say, where's the cut? And it's pretty seamless.
I was there that night, I remember, yeah. It was kind of scary watching a guy fall that far, like 9 times in a row or something. Yeah, it was intense.
I want to talk about music for a second, just because it's so important for not only for the movie, but for the comic books. You have so many references in the book itself. Some of the copies actually have playlists of what you were listening to while you were writing. I just want to talk about like the sort of time capsule of the series and also of the movie. You got Metric, you got Broken Social Scene, you got Beck. You got so many wonderful, incredible, talented people involved, and it just I was rewatching it this weekend and also going through the books this weekend, and I just felt so nostalgic, just taken back to that time period. Talk about the process. Talk about how has music influenced all of your work, and obviously Edgar with like Baby Driver and everything. Like, music is obviously so integral to everything you're doing. But talk about the music. Talk about all of that.
I mean, watching it this time, there was a shot that caught my eye, was just young Neil at the very front of the stage, just as the Clash of Demon Head's about to go on. And I remember standing there at the Real Lee's Palace many times for different shows. Yeah, I used to go to shows there all the time, and then I was in a couple of little bands. I played a show there once, and that's what inspired me to do the scene, because I kind of, when you're drawing a comic, at least for me, like, it helps to know the geography of the space. So I had played at Lee's Palace. I knew what it felt like, so I just kind of used it. But yeah, I mean, Edgar and I used to trade mixtapes all the time the first couple of years there. What was your memory of that?
I think you had done playlists for each book, and then I would do corresponding ones. So it was kind of like we were like kind of romantic pen pals, sending like sort of mixtapes to each other, like with, and really the soundtrack of the movie is a sort of combination of your mixtapes and my mixtapes.
And then there was the 2000s, like it was before streaming and stuff. Like, so his UK musical palette was like just slightly different than my Canadian indie rock palette. So we were all learning from each other, I feel.
And then the process of, the big thing when doing the music in the film was that Nigel Godrich, who did the score, we decided to, because there's different artists in it, sometimes you get like films where there's different genres and they have the same songwriter doing all of it, which sometimes can work and sometimes it feels a bit kind of strange. So we thought, why not have a different band for every band? So we started essentially, this is probably the fun bit of the pre-production, so casting the bands and going out to meet them. And me and Nigel, we went to Toronto and met Metric and Broken Social Scene, and then other people that were involved, like I remember you came to San Francisco with us to meet Beck. Well, what had happened before that is that we talked about a couple of younger bands that might be Sex Bob-omb, and we went to see them. There was like bands that ended up on the soundtrack, like the Black Lips, or there's a band that I really loved called Be Your Own Pet, and they basically like broke up before we met them. We were supposed to meet them in Los Angeles. We got a message from their manager saying like, oh, they're not going to come to the meeting, they've actually broken up on the road.
Yeah, it turns out young bands are messy.
Cut to
That
last
makes them
Thursday.
perfect.
They reformed 15 years later, and their new album, Mommy, if you like that band, is fantastic. And I went to see them on Thursday in LA, and I've met them 15 years later. And actually, I did use one of their songs in the trailer. But after that, like, Nigel just said, why don't we just get Beck to do Sex Bomb? He'll be brilliant doing that. It's exactly like how he started. He'd love it. And so that process was amazing. We gave him the script, and I wrote a description of the scenes of what Sex Bomb, what Sex Bomb were doing and what we needed. And he had the script. I'm not sure if he really read the script, but he had the scenes, and we made these big blow-ups of Bryan's art, and we basically decorated Beck's garage. So he literally recorded garage rock in a garage. And in the course of a weekend, he knocked out with his drummer 24 songs. And I wasn't present, he kind of wanted to do it on his own, but I remember Nigel said, oh, Beck's got something for us. I went to see Nigel, and it had this like CDR with 24 songs on it, and me and Nigel drove around LA listening to it. And the song that's in the ending credits, We Are Sex Bomb, was Beck and his drummer just jamming, and there's no other take of that song. Like, it's the demo in the movie. Because then Nigel, when he had the songs, he said, I don't know why you would re-record these. This is the best that Sex Bomb could ever hope to be. It's literally in a garage. Why would you make it slicker than this? And he was right. So all of those songs are in there. Garbage Truck and Summertime and Threshold are all recorded in Beck's garage.
Yeah, the only one he did again was Ramona at the end when it gets better.
And he added he added the lyrics to the sort of string version.
I also just want to say in the comic, I drew Sex Bomb singing a song that says, I'm so indefatigable, which I thought no one would ever use in a song, but Beck put it in a song.
I'll also say that the first time I was reading the graphic novel, there's a moment when Sex Bomb is playing, and then a little pop-up comes up and says, hey kids, you can play along with us. Here's a guitar tab of the song. And as like a impressionable college kid, my mind was blown. I was like, you can do anything.
I mean, yeah, I was thinking like, what can you do with a printed page? Well, how can I provide more fun for the reader? Activities for the children?
Yeah, you even have like a vegan casserole recipe in one of the books, right? It's the full recipe. People have actually.
I was always trying to provide value. I mean, honestly, that's just how I think.
It's brilliant.
It's interdisciplinary storytelling. It really is successful to pull music and video games into a comic.
And cooking.
And
Vegan cooking. Yeah,
Vegan, yes.
the recipe. Yeah.
I want to talk about Toronto. Let's talk about Toronto for a second. I think regional.
The correct pronunciation.
Sorry, did I do it right? Oh, Toronto. Okay, great.
You went from Toronto here?
Oh yeah.
I heard some woos. Woo!
Canadians, yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Toronto's?
Do you have one more
I
question?
had a
before
quick question, which
Yeah.
is, of those 24 songs, how many did you use? Are you the only one who has the other 20?
Actually, when they re-released the soundtrack, that Ramona song that Michael Cera plays to Mary, there were like 7 versions of that, and those are all on the special edition. Where he just like jams like 6 versions of like the Ramona acoustic, and I just put them all on because it was amazing.
Michael really plays it in the movie, doesn't he?
Yeah.
On the guitar, yeah, he's really
Michael
good.
could really play guitar. So we think that the people who could play their instrument, Tennessee Thomas, who's in Clash of Demon Head, is a drummer. Like Brie obviously sings. Michael could play guitar really well. If anything, Michael had to make his guitar playing look worse. And then Alison learned the drums, and Mark Webber learned the guitar, and Brandon learned the guitar. It was crazy. And we had, if any other, Chris Murphy from Sloan, famous Canadian band, was the guitar, the music teacher essentially.
And the hand double sometimes.
Yes. Mark Webber's hand double sometimes.
Sounds like the
But
most
yeah, to answer your
stressful
question, I
job.
think it was nothing that I didn't use really. Usually he'd done variations on things, but it's pretty much all in there.
Wow. In one weekend. Incredible.
It's so mean to make people do things for the first time on screen. Like for a 100-day shoot, like you're gonna learn guitar and we're gonna have you perform in front of the entire crew and every audience member in the world. It's so terrifying.
But the thing I
wedding
really
as well. Yeah.
The thing I really remember about that shot where you were on the couch with Johnny Simmons, the opening shot, is that the camera's pulling back. Is that on top of all of that, Chris Murphy from Sloan, the sort of was standing by the camera, in the Stephen Stills outfit, and basically miming it to Mark Webber. So he's like going D, E, D. Like, and it's just that's my memory of that shot, is that he's like going, just like doing the hands so Mark can copy him.
It doesn't show, but that's so stressful. I love it. So Toronto. Now I'm in my head. Toronto. Okay. I just want to talk about the fact that you guys really, again, it's a time capsule movie. It's a time capsule film, but you're also capturing a place and a spirit. The locations in the film and in the comics were real places that you went to every day with your friends. In fact, some of the places have, like, they even had shut down by the time you were shooting, so you had to go back and recreate these things as if they're ancient artifacts or ancient places. Now, 13 years on, Toronto has changed again. What do you guys hope, what do you hope you captured about Toronto as a city, as a place, as a vibe, as a community that lives on in the film and in the books? I mean, you guys all spent so much time there, and Ellen, you're Canadian as well, right?
Yeah, I'm from Toronto.
Oh, great, awesome. So yeah, this question is sort of for all of you. What is something?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not from Toronto originally. I lived there for only about 2 or 3 years in those years in my early to mid 20s, and started drawing it because it was all around me. It was easy to draw. I'm very lazy. I mean, easy is probably the right word, but yeah, I don't know. I was young and I didn't really know what Toronto was beyond what I was immediately kind of experiencing. I had some friends. We were trying to be a band, and we were just screwing around all the time, and drinking Pepsi out of mugs because we didn't own any cups. And that's kind of what I remember. And then there was a second round when we made the movie where I got to spend time in Toronto with these guys, and I remember you guys were all kind of staying in the same building, and we would hang out at night. It was like a whole summer camp experience.
Yeah, it was a very strange experience to make the movie in the locations that we were also kind of hanging out in. It felt very sort of strange. And there's also something as well that kind of feel, unlike the books actually, because you do have adults in the books, but there's no grown-ups in Scott Pilgrim at all.
Yeah, you were one of the oldest people on set, and you were 32 or something. It's so crazy to me.
So that was what I mean. It's funny. I mean, I like the idea of doing the books authentically, and I'm glad in a way that I was really expecting the studio to kind of say, why can't it just be in the States? And they never really did. Although Adam will remember, there was a crazy point where Toronto famously, in American movies at least, not Canadian movies, doesn't play itself very often. When I was a kid, I think I knew Toronto from David Cronenberg films and the Police Academy films. Because in Police Academies, what is this city? Oh, it's Toronto. And I get jazzed when there's that band, what's that bar called, the Silver Dollar?
Yeah.
And it's this is the Blue Oyster Club from Police Academy. But the thing was that there was a crazy point where Mark Platt, one of our producers, said, Edgar, would you consider shooting it in New York and making it look like Toronto? And I was like, no, I can't even get my head around it, no.
And that's why you have that joke in the movie, right? The screen that Lucas Lee rips.
Yeah, when there's the skyline of New York and when he crashes through the Empire State Building, you see the CN Tower behind. not with Drake singing on it.
Very briefly.
But the other thing I'd say about Bryan is that when he did the art reference, when he had all the digital photos of the locations that he had drawn. So that door, where sort of Wallace and Scott's apartment, or Wallace's apartment, was just a random garage, right? And you'd taken a photo.
It just looked good, yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing: as anybody who works in films knows that, if you want a location, don't let them know how much you want it, because that's just a random door, and they had no idea it was in the books. And so when we were doing a film scout, we were going straight to that door. We knew where it was, and we wanted to use the real door. We would do this stupid dumb show where if it was number 11, it's well, let's look at number 9, and let's look at number 13, but something about 11 I like. Because if they know how much you want it, then the zeros go on the end. It's oh, this is important to them, maybe I should charge more money. So we did this stupid thing, we'd get out of the van and say, which one is it? Is it this one? Is it this one? Or is it this one?
You're a good actor, Edgar. It's really good.
I fooled you.
He's going to 9. Bring him
think we're running out of time, but my last question is, can you guys each give each other a compliment real quick?
Oh my god. Wait, each to each?
No,
That's
just
a lot.
everybody has to give,
Exponential.
everybody say something nice. I'll say,
Can I be included too?
yeah, you did a great job moderating, Daniel, and I thought you had really thoughtful questions.
How about I give it to you guys?
No, that's off the.
I mean, I've been speaking to you a lot, Edgar. Let me turn to the girls here. Oh my God, girls, it's so nice to see you two together. I know you're such good friends. Ellen, we hang out all the time, and I love you so much. And I guess that's about all I have to say.
I like to say, but Mary, I think, we were talking backstage, there's something where like, you had so much hard work to do, but there's that thing where, like, people use the word effortless. I think they don't understand what that means. It's like you were such a sort of pro, and I know like doing those fight scenes was tough, but you would never let it show. And like, I was always really impressed by that, because I knew it was like harder than maybe you were letting on. And I just was like, working with you was just a dream, because you're just such a professional, and it was amazing. Just like, sort of just, you know, and we were there for the entire thing. So it was like, I think you're literally like in the, you know, first and last shot or something. So it was just amazing going on that journey with you. And then this one, with her parents bringing cakes. I mean, it was just, I mean, what you said earlier was that is the thing I always remember, is your mum and dad watching you on the wires. And also just going through, like, you know, being in Robin Cook's audition room, so like you being at the top of the pyramid, like with two like knives in your hand, like in your first movie, it was just crazy. And then this guy here, like, what an amazing artist and creator, but also an amazing writer, you know. And I mean, that was the thing, is you gave us such a sort of gift. Not just the artwork, but the sort of the dialogue is amazing. I mean, me and Michael McCoy obviously used so much of the lines from the books because it was fantastic, and it was just like, it's just like a real. Also, you know, we know this, is that there are some comic book movies where the comic book creator is not involved, or Alan Moore has never seen any of the adaptations of his movies. So to kind of like us be like, you know, just, you know, kind of just working together so closely was just a gift. And you guys are great moderators. But I couldn't say who's better.
Yeah, I couldn't even say who's who. Which one's which?
I just want to say you all look great, but especially y'all's sweaters.
Yeah. And before we go, I believe we have one last thing to show, right? We were going to show you guys the trailer for the new Netflix.
If you haven't seen it yet, we're
animation.
gonna wet your whistle and show you the trailer for the new Netflix series, which comes out
Friday.
Thank you guys so much for
Oh yeah, actually, wait, let us shout out, because our friends from Science Saru from Tokyo are here. Abel, our director, Moko-chan, who directed episode 3. We love you so much. Thank you guys for being here.